Listen carefully, because this is one of those truths that only becomes obvious when everything else is already on fire. When the grid goes down, when gas lines are empty, when the last propane tank in town is rusting behind a locked fence, fire becomes currency. Not money, fire. And the fastest way to go from prepared survivor to cold, hungry liability is to burn through your wood like it's infinite. It's not. Wood is heavy, loud to collect, dangerous to expose yourself for, and once everyone else realizes they need it too, it turns into a magnet for conflict. That's where the rocket stove enters the story. And no, it's not some cute camping gadget. It's a brutal little lesson in physics that turns scarcity into efficiency and chaos into control. Here's the thing. Nobody tells you about traditional fires. They waste heat like a drunk wastes secrets. Most of the energy goes straight into the air as smoke, half-burned gases, and unburnt fuel particles. That smoke you see isn't just annoying, it's literal calories leaving the system. A rocket stove flips that failure on its head by forcing complete combustion. Instead of a lazy, open flame, you get a violent, focused burn that eats smoke before it can escape. The shape matters. The vertical chimney isn't aesthetic. It's a trap. Hot gases rise, cold air gets sucked in, and suddenly, you've created a self-feeding engine that burns hotter the longer it runs. You're not just making fire anymore, you're drafting it, compressing it, weaponizing it against inefficiency. And this is where the 99% less wood claim stops sounding like clickbait and starts sounding like math. Because when combustion is complete, you don't need logs. You don't need split oak or perfectly seasoned hardwood. You can run this thing on finger-thick sticks, scrap lumber, broken pallets, even dried weeds if you're desperate. You feed it vertically, gravity does the work, and the flame consumes the tip of the fuel, not the whole piece at once. That means control. You're not dumping energy and hoping it behaves, you're metering it like an IV drip. In a collapse scenario, control is everything. Now let's talk about why this matters when things get ugly. Smoke is a signal. Smoke is visibility. Smoke says, someone is here, cooking, alive. A rocket stove burns so clean that in daylight it's almost invisible. What little exhaust escapes is hot and fast, dispersing instead of lingering. That's not an accident. That's survival engineering. Militaries learned this lesson a long time ago with field stoves designed to cook without broadcasting position. Less smoke also means less carbon monoxide pooling around you, which is how people quietly die while trying to stay warm. This isn't just about saving wood, it's about not poisoning yourself or inviting the wrong kind of attention. The real magic, though, happens when you realize how little material it takes to build one. We're not talking about precision machined parts or factory tolerances. Bricks, cans, clay, dirt, ash, even broken concrete. The core principle is insulation. You want heat trapped, reflected inward, forced to stay in the burn chamber long enough to finish the job. Insulation raises internal temperatures, and higher temperatures mean cleaner burn. That's basic thermodynamics, not survival mysticism. The hotter the environment, the more completely fuel breaks down into heat instead of smoke. You're not fighting physics, you're finally cooperating with it. And once you've cooked on one of these, you feel it immediately. The sound alone is different. It's not a crackle, it's a roar. A low, steady jet engine hum that tells you the draft is locked in. Your pot boils faster, your hands stay further from the flame. You don't need to babysit it constantly. That mental bandwidth matters more than people realize. In long-term survival, fatigue kills faster than hunger. Anything that reduces effort without reducing output is a force multiplier. There's another layer here that doesn't get talked about enough. Fuel flexibility. When everyone else is fighting over firewood, you're collecting twigs. When storms knock down branches and shred debris everywhere, that chaos becomes your pantry. You're not dependent on a single fuel source, which means fewer supply lines, fewer routines, fewer patterns for others to notice. Adaptability is survival, and the rocket stove is adaptable by design. Now imagine winter. Real winter. The kind where calories are heat and heat is life. A traditional fire demands constant feeding. You leave it unattended, it dies. You fall asleep wrong, it kills you. A rocket stove, especially one paired with a thermal mass like stone or packed earth, lets you store heat. You cook, you warm water, you heat dense material, and that heat leaks back slowly over time. That's not comfort, that's strategy. That's the difference between waking up stiff and waking up alive. People like to romanticize fire, but fire doesn't care about you. It doesn't care if you're cold or hungry or trying your best. It follows rules. The rocket stove works because it obeys those rules more ruthlessly than you ever could with an open flame. It strips fire down to its function and removes everything wasteful, dangerous, and loud. It's not pretty, it's not cozy, It's efficient in a way that feels almost unfair. And here's the dark humor part. In a world where everyone is improvising, guessing, and burning through resources like it's their last night on Earth, the person with the ugliest little stove and the smallest pile of sticks is the one who lasts. Not because they're tougher, but because they understand something simple. Survival isn't about having more, it's about wasting less. Build one once, really understand how it breathes, how it feeds itself, how it rewards patience instead of brute force, and you'll never look at fire the same way again. Because once you've cooked a full meal on a handful of twigs, while everyone else is chopping trees and coughing in the smoke, you realize this isn't a trick, it's a quiet advantage. And in collapse scenarios, quiet advantages are the only kind that matter. This section is based on practical field survival experience rather than formal academic sources.